Hi, today I wanted to talk a little bit about Cobra pose and some ways to give you a little more space in Cobra pose and also differentiating Cobra from locust, which I think is kind of an important distinction to make in practice. So with Cobra pose, oftentimes the cue is to bring your hands by your chest, right? Or to bring your hands directly under your shoulders and then to lift up into Cobra. So if I were to do that with my hands by my chest, Cobra would need to be a pretty large back bend. So then we've come up with this thing that I've heard called baby Cobra, which is like sort of like this, where we're squeezing shoulders back and just sort of using our back muscles to lift as much as we can. I would actually call this a locust variation. Locust pose being here or arms overhead, right, is sort of a back strengthener, a scapular shoulder blade strengthener, a glute and hamstring strengthener. It's a really great way to work on some of the strength that you need to do back bends or just to keep your back healthy. But locust and a locust variation isn't really the same thing as Cobra, which is like this nice hip flexor, like front of the hip and abdomen stretch. It's more of a back bend. And these things are actually really healthy for your back. And I think that people believe that they can't do Cobra because that's too much back bend. You can't get up this high and your hands are by your shoulders. Trying to do it halfway, it's really exhausting and feels tight and terrible to me anyway. So what I'll say is if you come down to the ground and it's time for Cobra, don't leave your hands where they are. Move them forward and wide a little bit like this. So what you've done here is you made it easier to spread across your collarbones. You've given yourself more space in your sides. And so now when you press up, your elbows can start wide. If your elbows start wide, you're going to give yourself a lot more space in your back. And then you can start to squeeze your shoulders and your elbows back, but your Cobra doesn't have to be as big. Your Cobra could be here, and you're still getting more of a Cobra feeling and action than you would here. It's a really big difference. Try it and see. But you're giving yourself way more space and it might feel a lot better. And there's nothing wrong with doing Cobra like this. The idea is really to not squeezing your shoulder blades down, but squeeze them towards one another so that your chest can lengthen forward and give you more space and start to work on back strength. And then you can bring your hands back and keep them a little wide. And eventually, maybe you warm up during class or your back bends get more open, then you can start bringing your hands in closer and back towards you more and creating larger Cobras. Yeah, because Cobra is a really big back bend. It's way more of a back bend than up dog. And it's really a great activity to do for your back health. So I encourage you to not shy away from Cobra, but instead look at some ways that you can make Cobra more accessible for your body and feel better to you. Give it a try. Let me know what you think.